Fido, come! Come? Come here! Fido, please come here! You come here right now! Yeah, that's not working, is it? The come cue, also called recall, it's one of the hardest ones for humans and puppies to master. After all, you're asking the dog to stop paying attention to something that they probably find very interesting and return to you instead. It's going to take a lot of training to help Fido learn to do that on cue. Michele here with How to Train a Dream Dog. Before we work on recall, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another important safety lesson like this one. In today's video, I'm going to share a story with you about an owner working on recall, or the come cue, with his dog. I'm going to give you some questions about what this owner did, and then you can guess what would be the correct way to handle the situation. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to leave with a couple of recall games to play with your pup and tips in case your dog gets loose and your recall isn't rock solid just yet. And then in the comments, you're going to tell us how many answers you got right after we go through the questions. Okay, here's the story. It's about a dog named Winston. Now, Winston has been home for about 2 weeks. He's about 10 weeks old. Now, for the last 2 weeks, Winston has come every time Bob called his name. Bob's been super pleased with this. Now, on a recent walk, Bob felt pretty comfortable taking off Winston's leash because he's become so compliant. Well, that day, Winston met up with a deer on the trail. Can you guess what happened next? Winston actually started chasing the deer. He would not respond when Bob yelled for him to come. Panicked, Bob started chasing after Winston and became really upset. Probably a little scared too. Now, when Bob finally caught up to Winston, the exhausted Winston, he was so upset that he reprimanded Winston the whole way back to the car. Alright, here are some questions for you. Do you think Winston really knows the come cue? A. Yes. He knew it, but the deer was just too exciting. B. No, he didn't really know what come meant. C. Winston knew, but he was too scared of Bob's tone of voice. Well, the answer is B and A and C. Alright, there's some combination here of all three. It's really hard to know exactly what Winston was feeling, but from many years of experience with puppies, I can tell you that many owners mistake compliance in puppies that young. Puppies are naturally compliant when they're really young. They come when called because you are their favorite person and you are very exciting to them. But as a puppy grows, so does their confidence. We often see this early compliance disappear in favor of other, more interesting things, like deer. So answer A is almost somewhat correct in that the deer was likely more interesting than Bob. And although we don't know Bob's tone of voice, for sure, it was probably pretty stressed and not very happy. To a dog, the choice between an interesting smelling deer and an angry human is clear. Go for the deer! Now, another question I have about this story is if Winston was ready to be off leash. What do you think? When is it okay to let a dog off a leash? A. When they're 5 months old? B. When they are in an enclosed area? Or C. When recall was successful 10 out of 10 times during practice? The answer is, it's going to actually depend on your puppy. In the case of my dogs, their recall, not so strong. Not strong enough for me to trust them off leash in all situations. And I'm a dog trainer who doesn't use aversives to scare my dog back into coming. Now, I've certainly owned dogs who I could trust off leash, but I am very conservative in giving my dogs off leash time because the risk is so high. Pickles, my Cavalier, he's so impulsive. If he sees a squirrel, he might run right out into traffic. And Wesley, he's so full of energy. If he sees another dog, he's a goner. That other dog might be too. They would be going off together, forever BFFs. And, well, I mean, really, Wesley just wants to be friends with everybody and every animal he meets. And Harper? Well, she's an old lady now, so she probably wouldn't even go very far. Pickles is 3 and Wesley's 2, so they're still really young. With more time and training, I know I could get them both to a point where they could be off leash, but frankly, they don't need to be. We do go out with a long leash, and I just let them sniff and wander and explore, and they love it. Sometimes we'll go to an enclosed area and I let them just run and be free, but they're still safe in an enclosed area, and they do come when I call. To me, it's just not worth risking them being off leash. Now, if you want to know more about these long leash walks and why they're so good, go ahead and check out this video here. But what should Bob do instead? So when he sees that Winston is not going to follow his request to come, what should he do? A. Run after him. B. Go wait for him in the car. Winston will smell his way back eventually. Or C. Stay in the exact spot so Winston will know where to find him. And the answer is none of the above. Sorry, that was actually a tricky one. Honestly, the best thing to do when your dog is taking off and you need him to return to you, follow these steps. Number 1, drop your body posture. Number 2, always reward with high reinforcements like high value treats and or a toy. Number 3, move away from the puppy while still facing him. Number 4, be more exciting than the distraction with an excited, happy tone of voice. And number 5, and finally, make a plan to add in a lot of pre-training for recall. Now, this means that you're going to be working on the cue while the puppy is on a long leash, leading up to letting him off leash in an enclosed area while continuing to work on this. It's going to also be important not to use the word come until you've really taught your dog what it means and he complies. If you use the word a lot and the dog doesn't respond, you are actually weakening the word. If you already used come too much, pick a different word. Some students in my online course have shared all different words, like cheese and bananas, here, approach, and aquí. It doesn't really matter what the word is that you choose, it just matters that you train the dog to know what it means every time you call it. What about the idea of chasing your dog? What does chasing your dog do? A. Tells him that running is fun and he should do it more. B. The spatial pressure pushes him further away. C. It gets you into better shape. Okay, well, C might be true, but B is definitely the answer. When you get close to your dog, they have a natural instinct to create more space. Unless you've taught them good things will happen near you. Now, if your nearness means that fun ends or he will be picked up against his will, or he's going to be deprived of what he really wants, he's just going to learn to avoid you. Now, this becomes a game of chase and then reinforces running away from you. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to teach you a game to play with your dog that teaches him that it's a good idea to stay when the owner comes near. And good things happen when he comes to you. So stick around for that, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more great videos like this one. Now, if you're looking for another one with more fun games, this one here is going to be a great one to check out after you're done with this video. Now, what do you think about Bob's demeanor and tone of his voice? What happens when you drop your tone of voice to one that is stern and angry and upsetting? Does your dog A, immediately respond and return, B, go into a down, or C, run the other way? Well, the answer is going to depend on your training. Now, if you've done none or not enough training, he's probably going to run the other way. If you've taught him that good things happen when he returns, or you've taught him to drop into a down, he's going to do it. If he's not doing it, it means that you've got more training to do, not that he's a stubborn dog. Keep in mind that no one wants to come back to an angry person. That angry or upset tone of voice creates a negative association with coming to you. It breaks down the trust between you and the dog, and it breaks down your relationship. Yelling at a dog for running away does not teach the dog what to do instead, and does not make the dog feel comfortable to return. The dog won't understand that running away was not good, only that the angry person is someone to fear. Dogs live in the moment, not in the future, but they definitely remember the way they felt in the past. Now, it might be hard to keep an upbeat, positive tone when you're scared and upset that your dog might get hurt. But remember that your positive tone will create a higher chance of him returning. I think you can do that. Now, if you're also wondering what else you can do to create a strong relationship with your dog, which will help with the recall, check out this great video here. Now, I want to teach you a fun game you can play with your puppy to help him learn that coming to you when you call him is a good thing. Now, I call this game Puppy Ping Pong. The game involves sending the puppy back and forth between two people, and he gets rewarded every time. Now, you can play it with 2 people or more. At the end, I'll give you a tip on how to play it with just 1 person. You're going to want to first start inside, in a small area with no distractions. This means no other animals moving or no children playing. The kids can possibly play along, but they might want to watch you do it first to get the hang of it before you add them into the mix. Now, I want you to find a moment when your dog isn't paying attention to you, but is still pretty close by, maybe within a few feet. Grab a few treats and hold them behind your back. Then you're going to drop down with your posture into kind of a crouched position. You're going to tap your thighs and you're going to make an exciting noise, maybe even a kissy noise. The dog will likely naturally perk up, look at you and come back to you because you are so interesting and exciting in that moment. The minute your dog arrives, give him the tasty treat. Now, someone else a few feet away can then do the same thing and call the dog over to them with a kissy noise. Remember that at this point, we're not actually using the word come. Practice just being excited with body language and sounds. That's just one way dogs communicate, so that's how we're gonna have you communicate at first as well. Now, once the dog is getting the hang of this game, you can start to add distance between each of you. Then, after a few training sessions inside, and he's doing great, take it outside. You can do it on a long leash in an enclosed area. Whatever you do, don't play the game off leash. We are far from ready for off leash work outside just yet. This is very similar to a game we have in our course called Collar Grab. In this game, we are actually teaching our dog to feel good about humans reaching for their collar. This is an excellent game for safety. After all, your dog gets lost. What's the first thing someone's going to do when they find them? Reach for the collar. Now, you don't want your dog to pull away and make the finder unable to read his tag or be able to catch him. One additional note on this. You can practice this puppy ping pong game even if you don't have a partner. The way I like to do it is put a dog on a long leash, loop it over the doorknob on the opposite side of the door so that you can close the door. This keeps the leash secure and the closed door keeps from moving or possibly slamming and scaring the dog. Then you can graduate to a long leash outside. The leash is used so your pup can't run away from you. Remember, the whole purpose of recall games is to teach your pup to come to you, not run away from you. You're going to want to wait until your dog is distracted or not looking at you. You can then use your excited, happy tones or kissy noise to catch your pup's attention. Don't forget to reward when your dog gets to you. Remember, anytime your dog comes to you, even if you're not actually asking him to, give him a reward. I always use high value rewards when we're working on this skill. I want to send the message home that coming to me will always be handsomely rewarded. Now, above all, you want the dog to feel like good things happen when he approaches humans. You can reinforce that all day long, every day. Recall is a hard one to master. I really get it. This is one reason we focus on it so much in my online course. Also, if you're not ready for the cue come yet, just hold off on saying that verbally. Don't say it yet. The more you call come without getting the response you're looking for, the more you're muddying up what the cue is going to mean. We're actually working with several students at our pro level who needed to change their recall word because the original word got muddied up. They continued to call come and their dog didn't respond. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to memorize that new word and use it consistently than it's going to be for your dog to actually learn the cue in the first place. So for that reason, hold off on using the come verbal cue until you've played all the other games inside our course with your dog. I can't teach you everything you're going to need to know about dog training and recall in this short YouTube video. These other games, though, are going to include the Fred Flintstone, the Slingshot, Come and Go, which has multiple parts, and more games that we suggest that you can play outdoors. Recall is such an important skill. We really loaded up the course with games to teach it. Now that we've really dissected the recall cue with our friend Bob and his pup Winston, tell me, what's one actionable thing you can do to teach your puppy this skill after you've watched this video?